Okay, good evening. Welcome to this regular scheduled business meeting of the Summersville City Council on this 27th day of September 2021. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight and get right into tonight's agenda. The first item on the agenda is the consideration of the council minutes of the meeting we held on September 13th of 2021.
Move to approve and waive the reading.
Second.
Okay, council, we have a first and a second. The motion was to waive the reading. Are there any changes or amendments to those minutes as they were presented to you in your packages? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. The next item on the agenda, public comment. Nobody signed up for public comment. Moving right along. Council, the next thing we'll go to is the general fund budget. Proposed budget revision number 2. This is our final carry forward in last year's transactions. We've officially closed the books on last year. Incidentally, we hold it over because a lot of that revenue that finishes that last quarter comes in the first quarter of this fiscal year. But anyway, you can see that we're carrying over an additional $293,216. That brings our total carry forward from last year's fiscal year budget to $2,329,072. So I make the following recommendations for itemization of the expenditure of this money. I'm adding $2,500 to the contractual of the mayor to bring it to $8,500. Council, I do that because I am now serving as a board member of the West Virginia Municipal League, and in doing so, I'm taking part in quarterly board meetings and other meetings. So, incidentally, I have travel. All I do is lodging and travel in those excursions. So anyway, I just really didn't have it in my budget to do so. Gary and I both attended the annual league meeting here a month ago, and of course this month I actually have a quarterly board meeting that I'll be spending 2 days in Morgantown with. So $2,500 there. Mayor contributions, and I did tell Cookie to put this in mayor's. I really wanted to put this in council. But I did tell her mayor, and then when this was all finished at the 12th hour today, when I'm reconciling, I realized that I had it put in mayor's instead of council. But it's the same transaction. Any money that's given on your behalf or my behalf is always on our behalf and the folks that we represent. So the food pantry, Bread of Life, had reached out to me sometime back, Bruce Ziegler, and said, Mayor, I just would like to bring to your attention the food pantry. And in the event that the city has cash flow that they could support us with, we would sure appreciate a contribution. And actually, we could label this contribution for their backpack program because they did need funds to support that program. And so anyway, it would go to the food pantry. I know that a regular volunteer at the food pantry is Jim Epling, and Jim, I didn't know if you wanted to say anything else about the food pantry and your all's work and mission.
Well, it's a tremendous community effort. The community's been very generous, and of course the city has, and I've been extremely proud to and satisfied with working for the food pantry for a number of years, and I think it's a real good effort. Something that everybody in Summerville should be pleased with.
Yeah. And I was somewhat shocked about the number of backpacks that you all do, and if I understand that correct, Jim, and so what you do is you take those backpacks to the schools for the kids, and they use them on the weekends. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So that's how they get their food from, or they send a lot of food for the kids that can be used on the weekends.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Great program, and I know they have some effort of that is in about every school in our county. So that's a neat thing. The next item would be the finance department to add $27,000 to that personnel services, and of course that's for the COVID-19 vaccine stipend that we approved a couple of meetings ago. Or a meeting ago, whenever it was, I lose track of time. The 3,216 is just putting that funds there in the commodities of City Hall. That's just a transactional thing. That's the money that was left over after the funds, the allocation of the other funds. Contractual fire department, 5,500 would be the vaccination stipend for our firemen. Also, $10,000 in the capital outlay budget of the fire department. The rescue boat actually needed a new dinghy, which is the boat they run off the rescue boat. That is a multi-use dinghy because it's not only used on the lake, it's also the boat they use for river rescue and other water rescue. So we are paying a portion of those costs. We actually partnered with the Summersville Rotary Club, who has kind of been the champions of the rescue boat. As a matter of fact, I kind of say that rescue boat's in this community. The city's always been a major contributor, but it was a fundraiser and effort on behalf of the Rotary Club that even brought that $100,000 boat to our city. So anyway, they partnered again, committing to this total package for this boat is actually about $2,200. City's given 10, Rotary's give, or $22,000. Sorry about that. The city's given 10, Rotary's given 10, and then of course the fire department is taking out of their budget the change of $2,000. Then the next item would be to add $140,000 to the Park and Rec department. You can see that the $30,000 is for the mural project. The other thing that I would like to make a project this year, and we're gonna work on. I have a feeling this might not be the year to do it, and so we may have to table it again because of cost. But to replace the old main gym floor, and I've got a semi-commitment of participation from the Board of Ed. And I say that because there's no commitment until we actually know cost. And again, with the cost of lumber and the way things are, this might not be the year to do it because we could find it being incredibly more expensive. We did check it several years ago, and we got in a bid that was just shy of $100,000 to completely redo that floor. And just, you know, if any of you are up there, or I know we don't sometimes have the access today that we used to, but if you're up there for any of the middle school activities, you will see great facility, structurally still pretty solidly sound, but the floor, you know, there's actually been at times where they put plywood in place of the hardwood floor. So the floor is in definite need of being replaced. So hopefully we can get that done. And our plan would be to try to do it in a summer when there's no activity. The last item would be the $60,000 that I would like to allocate for what I call city park planning. Of course, just sticking that in the budget for now. And as you all know, we've got some things that are that we're working on that actually is about property acquisition, and we'll get more into that in executive session because we're not ready to move public yet with anything official. And then finally, in contingencies, additional $100,000, which would bring our contingencies to $350,000, which, quite frankly, Council, those are monies in the budget that can't be spent without your approval. So that brings the total to $293,216. I'll look for a motion, and then we can have discussion.
Second.
First and a second. Is there any discussion, questions? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. So the next item is, Council, I think I had told you in a previous meeting, we also had the Nick Keller from Yeager Airport come before us and explain. Chuck also sits on the Airport Authority. As a matter of fact, I kind of felt horrible when we went through that whole deal when Nick was actually here. I was complimentary of the Airport Authority, but did skip over our Councilman Chuck Shaw, who is, by the way, a key player in the great things that are happening with our Airport Authority. Chuck is adamantly involved in it and at the table all the time. So I do apologize for that. Chuck didn't want me to mention that, but I even called him that night and told him that I was sorry that I'd overlooked him, because he does play a significant role. So initially, council, I had this $100,000 contribution in our in our city monies, in our carry forward. But after much due diligence, and the other thing, council, that I would like to do for you is make available, we can send some of this to you electronically, but this is actually the rules and guidance on our money. Okay, it's all of this and all of this, okay? Our first report on our monies is actually due, it's due at the end of October. It will be any monies that we spent through September 30th of this year. The proposal I make tonight, I want to make effective October 1st. And then I will tell you that we have to have the funds allocated, all of our funds that we have now, and then the balance we receive next year, which will be another $722,000, so about $1.4 million. We have to have it all allocated for expenditure by 2024 and spent by 2026. Okay? And so what I do in this all this documentation, it does specifically allow us to support the airport, and I've actually got the language that I was wanting to read right out of here. So, you know, let me read from my email here, because I've actually gone to great lengths to make sure that if we take $100,000 of our money and give it to the airport authority, are we in compliance? So it's aid provided to tourism, travel, hospitality industries that you're allowed to. And then it goes into, you know, of course, support the expansion of, you know, is it job related? Does it create jobs? It goes into great detail. You know, this qualifies under, you know, the expansion that they're doing for tourism. A lot of the things that they're doing for economic growth. Anyway, it's all in all of this language, and specifically, I even went through, actually went through Nick, because at first I was challenged. When you get this document here, before you read about some of the expansions that they've allowed, there was really 4 main issues at the beginning you could use it for. This was not a qualifier, but they have since expanded the language. And so I feel in the utmost sincere. I've talked to the municipal league. The problem of it is nobody will really tell you yes or no. Read the rules and make your decisions, because I think there's going to be some great flexibility for everybody. All I can tell you is I have no reservation that what we're doing tonight, this transaction, qualifies per our American Rescue Plan guidelines and the Act of 2021. So, we've talked about it. It is my recommendation that we approve $100,000 contributions to the Summersville Airport Authority from our American Rescue Plan Act Fund. And I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second discussion. Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. No recorder, did Gary give you? No, okay, no recorder report. Council, I just have a few things. One, Halloween this year, trick-or-treating will be done on the 31st, which is a Sunday. And because it's not a work night, We've actually even bumped it up an hour, 5 to 7. We've always had requests to do that because it gets dark, it's pitch dark by 8. This year we're going to go ahead and bump it up to 5 to 7 because it's not a work night. That's why we always get caught. A lot of people want it 6 to 8. That's what we've always done. But we're bumping it up this year because it's not a work night, 5 to 7. That will also be the City of Summersville Safe Zone at the Arena and Conference Center with our many, many business partners, the Conference Center and the CVB, City of Summersville. The Safe Zone will take place at the Conference Center, and this year it will be an indoor thing where the kids can come in and go around and get their candy and go back out.
Same time?
5 to 7, yes sir, same time, okay? And then a couple other things I just want to give you some insight on, council. At the Municipal League, Gary and I both attended a class where that was taught by the City of Fairmont planner, a gentleman by the name of Shay Strait. And immediately when we sat in that class that day and listened to Shay talk about planning and comprehensive plan, and of course the great thing, Shay was actually the full-time planner for the City of Huntington for, I want to say, about 12 years, and then he was hired away from there to the City of Fairmont. The guy knows his stuff, but anyway, we have retained Shay on a contract to help us get our comp plan across the finish line. I don't know, this gentleman just knows his stuff, and I think we've always had a struggle. We've had some great help and been given some great direction, but sometimes I think it's just translating that into Summersville. And many of you have participated in all that stuff, and I don't know why, but I believe, and I was just sitting in that class thinking, this is the guy we got to get to help us with this. And so we have contracted Shay. Gary will get more into that. But Gary and I have met with him, and so he is going to be introduced to the Planning and Zoning Board on October 18th. They're having a meeting at 6 p.m. right here in City Council. And what I strongly encourage you all to do is come to that meeting. Now, due to and it may change, but as of right now, Shay's going to do it by Zoom because of where our county is with the pandemic. Things may change, and if they do, then at that point in time, he may do an actual appearance. But right now, he's scheduled to do his introduction and lay out his plan by Zoom, but we'll have it on both of these TVs broadcast here in the chamber for their planning and zoning meeting. So I think that'll be a great meeting. It's going to be the introduction of Shay. I just encourage you to come, council, if you can. The other thing I wanted to let you know, council, we received a letter from the Department of Transportation, actually an email. It actually came in September 16th. And of course, I've been dealing with it last week, and now tomorrow there's another gentleman I got to follow up with. But the state's getting ready to redo the intersection at Route 41 and 19. And they're going to redo it in a way that is going to support the traffic running down 41 to the new school. It's all in preparation of that. Anyway, incidentally, they sent us this email on September 16th, and we've got a whole bunch of maps and stuff, and we're being held to be the responsible party to move the utilities, our utilities, water and sewer, to support this change they're making there at that intersection. Well, the changes that they're requesting go clear back to I wrote it down because I always, Geno's. Goes clear back to Geno's. You got to start from there and work forward, is what their plans call for. So just on a off the cuff, James has said, Mayor, this potentially could be a $250,000 job, and quite frankly, there's a lot of the heavy load of it we can't even do. So contacted the state, and I'm like, they want our engineered plans, so we got this September 16th. They want our engineered plans, if we agree to their changes or what they want to do with our utilities, they want to answer by October 16th or October 15th. Not going to happen. So I've already contacted them and told them that, and what we have to do is hire an engineer to tell us if what they're wanting to do can be done. Now, there is reimbursable for all of this. The state says that they will incur all expense. I will find more details out about that tomorrow, but I just wanted to let you all know that if you see a request for proposal go out for an engineer, and it's a highway project from the city of Summersville, this is what it is now we've got to hire an engineer to review their engineered, and they've hired the firm Mead Hunt. That's the firm they've hired, so it's not even the state that's engineered the change. It's a company that the state's contracted with, and now what we got to do is hire somebody and say, okay, yeah, we agree with that or don't, and then we're still responsible to get it moved, but the state will pay for it. So we'll work all those pieces out, but I wanted to let you all know that if you see that, it could be that, that's what it's for, is this intersection change out there at 4119. Okay, and then the last thing, council, just if you could put it on your calendars, we plan to have the Thanksgiving dinner this year, and we're going to do it at the arena where we can spread tables out and make all kinds of room and have 2 big food lines for people to come into, plenty of room to sit down and eat. So if you would reserve the date of November 18th for the community Thanksgiving dinner, and of course today it's on, but never know what tomorrow might bring. But as far as now, today it's on, and of course traditionally city council serves the meal. So mark your calendars, November 18th, and probably be from 11 to 1 is typically when we run that. Okay, any council reports or council comments? Okay. So at this time, I would ask that we move into executive session under authority of West Virginia Code 6-9A-4 to discuss matters related to planning, commercial competition matters, the purchase, sale, or lease of property. And also for the record, we're excusing Stevie LaRose from the meeting. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Got a first and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries.